Welcome to the first episode of What's Ahead for Framingham. The purpose of this show is to have a real conversation about our city, where we are now, where we want to go, and how we'll get there together. Each episode will focus on a single topic. Today's topic is how to handle difficult or controversial situations, specifically all the ruckus about my name. It will give you a very good example of how I approach things. In general, every mayor has to handle difficult situations, and if elected mayor, I plan to use the same approach I always have, which is to talk openly and honestly about what is going on, tackling problems head on, and leveling with the community. I never run away from trouble. That just makes things worse. Now for the specifics of the name controversy. Over the past few months, the Geoffrey Epstein name went viral nationally, and that led to significant media attention for me. The first inquiry came from Matt Shearer at WBC News Radio. He visited my home and produced an Instagram video of our conversation. Then Kelly Garrity from Politico reached out and spoke with me by phone and wrote an article in Politico's Massachusetts Playbook. HuffPost followed with an email exchange and another article. Following that, News Nation invited me for a live interview with Marky Martin on Morning in America. The New York Post asked to send a photographer to campaign events. NBC interviewed me at home, and most recently The Australian, a major newspaper owned by News Corp, interviewed me from the perspective of an Australian correspondent covering US politics. I said yes to all these inquiries. Here is some of the footage from the Morning in America interview.
Well, he's got a famous name that's not doing him any favors. Geoffrey Epstein is running for a political office, and he's getting the wrong kind of attention for it. Instead of asking the Framingham, Massachusetts mayoral candidate what his political views are and how he plans on improving the Boston suburb, he's getting demands to release the client list from people who are just irate. Geoffrey Epstein, who prefers to go by Geoff, joins me now. Geoff, a pleasure to have you on the show. I've been eager to talk to you all morning long. Just for starters, what have the last few years been like for you in sharing this name with the disgraced financier?
Oh, that's never been a problem because, I've never been very visible publicly. So, it's just like there are actually a bunch of Geoffrey Epsteins around the States, and I'm one of them. There's one in Chicago who's a lawyer, I think. So, it doesn't hit you until, you campaign, your names become visible, and then the lunatics appear
yes.
on Facebook.
The loonies are out there. I can also
right.
confirm that. You're very, front and center now with your race for mayor. Has this helped you, harmed you? I mean, on one hand, here you and I are talking about your local race on national television, but on the other hand, I imagine it's hard to, look you up online, research your campaign. What's that been like as,
I think it actually helps because my name's in the news locally as well. So, yeah. The mayor is very well known, Charlie Sazetsky, and I don't have as good recognition for my name as him. I'm still well known because I served on the school committee here. But actually, I got a donation from an Australian in San Francisco yesterday. So I'm in the national news, so it's energizing the Aussie network across the United States. So if they all donate to my campaign, then I'll do pretty well because the mayor's got a lot more money than I do.
Well, yeah, again, here you and I are chatting this morning. The other thing I was thinking of, how often do you get hung up on or these irate constituents who have been living under a rock and confuse you with the infamous Geoffrey Epstein and don't realize that he's passed away?
Yeah, I'm the live Aussie and he's the dead American, is what I say. It's really the fact that I have a Facebook page and then I made the mistake of boosting that page. And so when you boost it, someone sees it and then they can come in and comment on it. And that's when I started to get the lunatic fringe. So I stopped boosting posts and I just create ads with campaign materials directly. So when they click on it, they go to the website rather than Facebook. So that really killed most of that problem. But, this is a moment, it's kind of weird because it is funny. It's like a moment of levity and all the chaos that we're experiencing. And I just noticed all that stuff about Texas flooding and environment. it's also a terrible thing because the other Epstein is a real monster, and the way he drew people in and kind of got lots of other people into that horror that he was perpetrating is terrible. So, these people are around, and you just got to get used to it. I was also born on 9/11. So, it's like,
yeah.
But there's a million Americans who are born on 9/11, so I have good company.
You've been hit with a couple double whammies there. I understand others who share unfortunate names with, other infamous characters have reached out with words of wisdom. What's your piece of advice for other people out there who are rowing the same boat as you?
You got to laugh about it, except in this case, it's associated with a person with very dark criminality. My father was a doctor, and he had patients who had names like Ramsbottom. So I mean, you run around in life with that kind of name, it's permanent. I think if I had that name, I'd change it. But my name, I'm pretty proud of because my uncle flew in Pathfinder bombers in the Second World War, 67 missions over Europe. My father was a doctor. He was a great guy, served in Port Moresby in the Second World War. I got a good family. These are good people.
Yeah, and you can't let the darkness win.
Not at all, and particularly in this time. You got to
absolutely
retain a sense of humor and a sense of drive. And in fact, in all of the chaos that's going on right now, it helps me a lot to run a campaign here to try and improve the local school system and help immigrant children, because the mayor took money away from their education. I got in the fight on that. And the other thing, noticing all of this environmental stuff, everyone should be putting solar panels on their roofs because it captures the heat out of the sun, turns it into electricity, and so you kind of lower the weather threat.
Yeah.
And Framingham's done a terrible job in the last 4 years. The mayor didn't put any new solar installations into the city, while 2,000 homeowners here have got solar on their roof, including me.
You're fighting for a lot of change.
That's one of the other big things. We've got to get going with environmental action.
Yeah.
So,
fighting for a lot of change in Framingham.
Right.
I got to end it there. Thank you for a moment of levity, a laugh this morning. Geoff Epstein, thank you so much. We'll be following the race. Keep us posted.
My goal was to respond openly, inject some humor where possible, and show that while the infamous Jeffrey Epstein committed terrible crimes, I was not running away from the coincidence of our shared name. Facing challenges head-on has always been my approach. Avoiding them only makes matters worse. It turns out that the Instagram video put together by Matt Shearer was the first campaign season interview of both candidates in this mayoral race, and it gave a very good picture of the completely different way Charlie Szycki and I handled difficult situations. Charlie admitted on camera he would have run from it. I believe the opposite is true. You lean in, address the problem, and then redirect attention to what really matters, Framingham's future. Here is footage from that video.
Agree on.
But I'm the good Epstein, not the evil Epstein.
How can you take advantage of having the same name? I mean, I would run from it.
Because you can get people's attention with this. But for me, the important thing is to try and illuminate the issues that are very real for everybody who lives here.
The way I see it, this name issue became an opportunity to elevate the campaign, draw attention, but then get people engaged in the real issues that affect all of us. And that ties into my philosophy as a leader. Problems, whether uncomfortable or not, should be put on the table and discussed openly. If you don't know what the problem is, how can you solve it? I've always believed that the best way forward is when everyone feels free to say what's on their mind and all aspects of a challenge are considered. That's my approach to leadership. As this is the launch of a series of episodes, it makes sense to fill in some of my personal background to provide essential context for my campaign for mayor. I've lived in Framingham since 2014. I served 4 years on the school committee here and closely followed city government through my reporting with my Substack newsletter, the Framingham Observer. In the last 2.5 years, I've written 170 articles on all aspects of city government. Before that, I spent 6 years on the school committee in Newton, essentially an extended boot camp in all aspects of how school systems operate and are managed. Professionally, I'm a physicist, engineer, and entrepreneur. I've founded and run 3 companies, a high-tech consulting firm, a rental real estate business, and now Observer Communications, a media company. My career has been in both academic and business sectors. I've learned to face facts directly, no matter how uncomfortable, and work with all parties to reach good solutions. I'll discuss anything, anywhere, with anyone. There are many issues in the city to discuss: education, the environment, infrastructure, including roads, buildings, water and sewer, neighbourhood planning, senior services, and financial management. These are the major areas I'll be addressing. Each has serious problems today, but also straightforward solutions if we approach them openly and responsibly. My campaign is a catalyst for dialogue with two main objectives. First, to make sure the community is informed and engaged on the facts of how the city's doing. Second, to be elected mayor and bring the change Framingham urgently needs. If I'm elected mayor, I'll encourage residents to ramp up community engagement by bringing me their concerns directly, and I will reward city staff for identifying problems so we can fix them. The goal is not to hide problems. The goal is to uncover them and reach solutions. An open, constructive attitude is what leads to progress. That's the leadership style I'll bring to Framingham: transparent, collaborative, and relentlessly focused on solutions. The campaign website is at www.geoffepsteinformayor.com, where you can get more information about the issues, solutions to problems, and my background, and subscribe to the campaign Substack newsletter on the campaign trail in Framingham.